All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this September 12th, 2025. Hope everybody's doing good out there. All right. So purpose of Stock Analysis Friday is for me to look up stocks for you or ETFs that you may have some questions on. So when you type those in caps for me in the comments area, let me know if you're interested in a long position, short position. You may already be long and looking for a forecast and possibly an exit area. So let me know that as well. So that way I can tailor the analysis specific to you. All right, a couple things to go through here real quick, and then we'll get started. First thing, of course, is to talk about the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really do go hand in hand. But you need to be aware that there is risk in trading the markets. It's possible to lose some or all your money, depending on how you trade. And also, to know how to do risk control. That's really important. Know what your risk is going into each trade. And always trade with risk capital. And then finally, past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. And I strongly suggest running any of my analysis here past your money manager, financial advisor, whoever, just to make sure it's suitable for you. I don't know your personal situation. They certainly should. So anyway, that covers the risks. I got a couple books that may interest you. My newest book, The Art of Trading, second edition, is out this year. Reviews are coming in really good. It's a big book, 608 pages. It's probably the only book you need. It covers everything from the beginning to the experienced trader. So you may want to check that out. That's available on Amazon, and we'll put some links below for you in the recording. All right, risk control books are there in front of you. Elliott Wave, which is a form of technical analysis as well, and then the survival guide for traders. When we look at charts today, I've developed software that analyzes trends called the ART software. It can also be used for scalping. There's a scalping indicator in there as well. And then I have also confirmation indicators called the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. You'll see me use those today. We also have scanners and risk control software as well. And we'll put some links up for that in the recording too. All right, so give us a like. Appreciate that. And then finally, also too, we have the MOR report. I'm going to show you the Dow, but we have specifics on where we think this is going, and we're going to be updating it. We update it every week on Sunday, and we have a new area based on this week's activity, so you're not going to want to miss this. It's not an expensive service. It's $49 a month, and you also get our stock picks for the week in there as well. So it's a combination where we analyze the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, major indexes, the real estate market, and Bitcoin, and then also have our list of stock opportunities. So Jeannie will put a link up there. I think she just did in the comments area for you to learn more about that. All right, so quickly, let's just quickly take a look before we get going. So here's the Dow. I'm not going to go into all the indexes or the specific targets we have now for this based on this week's activity. But if you're interested in that, just grab the MOR service. All right, so we obviously have an uptrend, new highs reached, and we kind of said this would most likely be the outcome, and we're not done yet. All right, so we may get a little bit of a pullback today. But in any case, because we had a pretty good surge up yesterday, but as you can see, trend lines are all up. So we're probably in pretty good shape, but we are getting close to a significant target area. So keep that in mind. All right. Now with that, let's jump in and see what you want to look at. I think, Will, you may be the first one. All right. And let's see what you got. So $CRCL. Let's see what we got on that. All right, that's an invalid instrument, Will, for my platform. So I'm using NinjaTrader, and if you could give me what index that is or what you're trying to look up, I appreciate that. All right, let's go to Tesla and see what that one's looking like. All right, Ed, how are you? All right, so you're up 30% on Tesla. Congrats, good job. Let's see where that's going to go. So our target on this is 454. to 598. So I would keep holding this. And the other thing to take into note here is we have our PTF indicator. Let me just redo my pointer. Give me 1 second. And I'll throw it off the screen. And let's see if that works now. Yep. Okay. So notice the PTF indicator down here is green. Okay. So that is indicating more highs, and it has a specific target based on how you use it on the previous high. So as a minimum, according to that indicator, we should get very close to $500. And so that's kind of cool. To be more specific, I've got the data window off on another window. So $488.54 is the PTF target on that. So that's kind of smack in the target. I wouldn't get out as soon as it hits the target. I would maybe take a little off the table if this changes to yellow, because I know you have the software. So when this PTF turns to yellow and goes into a neutral stance, that is an area where you can start scaling out a little bit if you want to do that, or you just draw a trend line and wait for the price to change. So Tesla really, so far, a really good call. That was on our stock pick for the MOR report a while back. All right, so let's see on your next one, CVNA. Let's see how that baby's doing here. All right, this one's done nice too. Potential new buy. Okay, so you're not in this one. I would probably, here's my thoughts on that. It's definitely gone up into a nice trend. My only thoughts on this are two. One, you're getting in too late. Two, this is a very bearish bar here. Okay, so that's bearish down. You can see it also on the weekly. So you got two of them forming on both time frames. You've got bearish divergence building in the OWL momentum indicator, which is this indicator here. So that's the OWL. This is the PTF. All right, the PTF is no longer green. All right, so it did what it was going to do. It told you it was going to have another high, and it had it. We're probably in a range right now. Usually after a trend, markets range most of the time. But in any case, this price bar, along with the fact of a mature trend, let's wait for that to correct. Okay, and then if you're still interested in going in it, I would do it there. You just have too much risk to the downside on that. All right, let's see, MRVL. And you just bought this one. Okay, so this is Marvel. All right, I would not have bought this. And the reason for that is the indicator, the PTF is red on both time frames. Okay, you've got a bearish pyramid. So in a wave 3. So this may be a 3, 4, 5 going down. Okay, so I probably would stay away from that unless it's a short sale. This actually, I'm going to put this actually down as a better short sale than a long one. Okay, so I don't know if it's popped up a teeny bit to fill this gap, but my suggestion is to get out. Okay, and let's just see where, if you were thinking about a short, I'm actually going to recommend this one as a short. So let's just see how we're doing there. So the target for a short sale would be around 38.5 down to below 10. Okay, so with a PTF targeting at least this current low. And when I say current, let me just draw this in here. I mean this one back in April. Okay, so there you have it. All right, so fib target zone based on wave 5 is down below the blue lines. The PTF trade is the red line. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. All right. Let's keep moving on here. And let's see who's next here. All right. Here's Gene's link. I see that, Gene. Thanks for posting that. Oh, also, right. We have a free Discord channel. I'll have to talk about that a little more too. Okay, thanks. We got quite a few members there already, so that's kind of picking up. All right. Okay, so let's see. I missed these. Okay. Thank you, Gene. Gene keeps me straight here. All right. TECK Let's see what we got there. Again, this is from Ed. Potential new buy. All right. So we've gapped up quite a bit. Well, the PTF changed from red to green, so that is a good sign. It looks like we had a decent retracement. Let me just check that off, check and see kind of if that was decent there. Yeah, that wasn't too bad, but you had one here too. So moving back up for potential buy. We haven't broke structure yet on the weekly chart. We're still below this level here. We've gapped up. Boy, that's kind of one of these where, you know, look at the channel. You're going to have to give this thing a fairly wide stop. The problem with this one is your stop has to go at least below this bar here on the weekly chart. So that bar has roughly a high of 41 to 34. So the stop's got to go below that. All right. You could also put it below here or here, but it definitely has to go below that. So that's how I would play that if you wanted to go long on that. My only issue with this is that we haven't broken structure yet on the daily nor really the actual weekly time frame. You know, we had to move up here, move back down. We've got to get above this high to break structure. I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but I like to have that happen before I do anything. So I don't see necessarily anything wrong going into this, but because I think you're going to get more highs, but that's the way I would play it. Okay. All right. And then CRSP is your next one, and you just bought this one. Okay, so on this one here, you broke structure here, pulled back. This is why, exactly why, when we look at charts and we see a mature uptrend and people say, should I buy it here? I always say no. Okay, wait for the pullback and then look for the buy point. So you had an ABC, so that's good. That's what you want to see. You had 3 pushes down like that. All right, let's take a look at the retracement. You hit the retracement. We've got green, Powell, and PTF on the weekly. This is a good one. Okay, so CRSP is a buy. All right, that's the best one we've looked at today. So I would put your stop at the very bottom here. Okay, and if you do get stopped out, you may want to try again if it goes a little deeper into that area there. Okay, you could always put your stop below the fib retracement too. That's a possibility if you want to play it that way. We have a pyramid here at the low way down here, but in any case, that's kind of the way I would work on that. All right, so CRSP is the best one so far that we looked at. All right, and then if you just bought it, good job. NVIDIA is the next one. NVIDIA is one we recommended as well a while back, but it hit its target. So now it's coming back down. It looks like it's probably not done going up. We got a green PTF on the weekly chart, but we may be going into a pullback here. So I'm thinking maybe we've had an A, looks like a B, C. Either this is a minor pullback, but if it goes into a major one, you can expect a pullback to 150 to 128. Okay, so here's the way I would play that. You got a nice bounce, bullish price bar on the weekly chart. So it has not made a new high, but it has gone into the wick area of the bearish wick, representing basically the high here. If it gets 50% into that wick and reverses with the bearish bar, get out. Okay. Otherwise, it should take the high out for one more time. But you're already in the target. So I'm not going to recommend this because the possibility for correction is quite significant here. Okay. So what I'm saying, once again, is summarize, look at the weekly chart here. If we get 50% into this wick, we're starting to hit it now, and we have a bearish bar down here. Exit if prices go below, one tick below that bearish bar, because that would be actually a short trade setup to look at. Okay, so that is NVIDIA. All right, and you're up 55%. So that wouldn't be a bad place to think about taking profits. Okay, good job on that one. All right, so I think I'm caught up here. All right. Okay. Okay, so tokenized equity. Okay, so here, equity asset. Yeah, current Bitcoin currencies, I have to use TradingView for that. So I do not have that launched right now. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. By the way, Bitcoin, all the cryptos, by the way, have now, looks like they are on their next leg up. So they have returned back to the upside. That's pretty much across the board. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right, Frank, how are you? SEMI. Okay, I don't know if you're long or short on these, Frank. So I'm going to assume you're long. If you're not, I think I would not go into this at this time. Okay. Yeah, you're going to get more highs most likely on this, but also too, it's mature. Look at the daily chart on here. I just don't like to go long up here. I like to go long down in the beginning, breaking of structure. Okay. After a nice move down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, move down, and then a break of structure. So I kind of shy away from these ones that are kind of already moved. Let's take a look at Micron here, MU, and same thing here. Okay. So here's what was interesting. You know, we looked at this before a while back, and we had a area of structure here. Okay. Here's where we had support here. Look at it, hit that structure, bounced off, ABC wave 4. Okay. Now we're in the area of wave 5, probably still going up. So here's the thing. All right. I'm not saying this isn't going up, but the area to get in would have been a little bit earlier. Okay. You broke this structure here. I don't even think I would have gotten in necessarily on this pyramid because we're so close to a target at this point up in the upside. So if I was trading this on a intraday time frame, I would go long. I'd put my stop under this bar and go for a quick scalp for the next bar. So your probabilities of more highs are pretty good. But if this is a buy and hold situation, I would probably not do that because you'll get a reversal pretty soon on it. So no, okay. And again, look at the maturity of the trend here. Okay, all highs here. So I just wait. It's not that it's going to not go up, but I just want a more favorable situation to get in. If you can afford putting your stop down here, then I would do it. Okay. Because that has that probably has about an 80% probability just based on that price bar structure going higher. So this would be a good scalp, but not necessarily a good position to stay in for a while. All right. So that is MUTSM here without a pullback, put it that way. All right, same thing here. All the ones you're showing me have already taken off. Okay, so this is kind of the classic situation. There was some software, I'm not going to mention the name of it, that used to be sector software. And it would always give me a buy signal. And then I'd look at the stocks and they were already took off. So by the time the sector showed a buy signal, the stocks were already up at their super highs. And every time I went in, this was, you know, a long time ago when I was starting out trading, trusting that software, I would get slammed out with a stop because I'm getting in near an all-time high. So that's the problem, okay, with some of these that I'm looking at here. The entries would have been on the pyramids down here on a break of structure. Okay, that's the entry, not here. Okay, so that's the problem with that. But if you're looking at news services or any type of software that looks for a strong performance, you're always going to get in near the high. All right, let's take a look at SIRI. Stuart, how are you? And Stuart, I don't know if you're long or short on this one. You're probably thinking about it. And we've had a nice move down. I think we looked at this before. It looks like we have some structure down here between the two red lines. In fact, let's get rid of that and redraw those a little bit. So you got equity here, and you've got this big structure there. All right, so I'd be surprised if it didn't head down a little bit lower and take that equity out, so close to it. And here we've got basically a range forming here. So here's the way I would play this probably. I'm trying to think how I would do this. Probably that along with something like that. Okay. So you got kind of a wedge formation in here, or a pennant. So you're definitely in a range right here. So you could go back and forth in that range, and it should narrow. So let's put this on hold and take a look at it. And I'd say whichever way it breaks out eventually, you can go with that. Okay. All right. Yeah, good to see everybody here today. All right. Frank says he's got an echo on the line. Is it just him, or is everybody getting that? Let me know. All right, Stuart, WBD. Stuart, tell me when you put a stock in, tell me if you're long or short or thinking about it. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, this one took off. Look at that price bar. It's starting to look like the NASDAQ. All right, so now, what do you do with this? Well, the charts are all green, so I'm liking that. We had a pyramid here at 14 on the long-term chart at around $14.15. Had a bullish bar, so your stop's got to go at least below that. I'd put it below the pyramid on the weekly chart because that is probably an order block right there. Okay, so I'm kind of liking this. Are you going to get a pullback? We're starting to see a little bit of wicks on the daily chart. You may get a little bit of an area in here. Let's see. I'm thinking probably a broke out structure here and here. I like it. Okay. I like it for a long trade, but your stop's got to go almost 50% below. So it's got to go at 1025. So I'm going to put this as a buy. Okay. On this one, you could use, I think, an option might be a better way to play it since your stop's got to be so far away. So just basically, you could do a simple call. If you want to do something more fancy, you can certainly do that if you're an advanced options player. But basically, pick a call and don't put any more than 2% of your account value in the option. Okay. So yeah, I'm liking that. That one actually looks pretty good. All right. Let's see what Jean says here. Frank, she says you may have two browsers open. Okay. All right. Eleanor, how are you? All right. PLTR. Let's take a look at PLTR. Okay. So again, I don't know if you're long or short or thinking about it. So when we looked at this last time, we had kind of a situation where we had, let me just see, just go more precisely on that. It's been a while, I think, since we looked at it, but we kind of have that. Okay. So in any case, we had a bull flag breakout, but we're in the target. We have green PTF, so we should get resolved to get more highs. So in a case like this, if you're a short-term trader and you want to take the bull breakout here, your target's going to be basically at the high of 190. That's basically the way you can work it. If you are already long, all right, I would hold on to it and put your stop below this candle here. If you want to invest in this, I'd probably wait for the pullback. So if I was a short-term trader, there's a case to go long based on a bull flag on the weekly chart. I also have it slightly there. Otherwise, for an investor, I would probably wait for a pullback on wave 4. Okay, I just don't like to chase the markets. That's all. All right, CLS. So if you're still in that one, you can just hold it. All right, same thing with this one. Okay, all these have run up, so there's no reason to get out of this if you're in it. And if you're thinking about trading it, I would wait for the pullback, more of a long-term trade. Okay. All right, and then CRWV. And on this, did I put that in right? CRWV, yes. Okay. So this is fairly new. Okay. So we came down here to a fib retracement area. All right. And so we've had a nice correction. We had a break in structure, went above that bearish pyramid. So on the short trade, your entry would have been here at this fractal. Your stop would trail down kind of like that. Okay. If you were going to stay in it. So the trend down, according to the pyramids, has now been taken care of, and now we're moving up. So you did have a break in structure. You'll probably get a bullish pyramid here pretty soon. So far we got a bearish candle here. We got a pretty big wick over here, and on the weekly chart that formed this week. So let's see what I would do. You're going to have plenty of time to get into this for a long trade, but you have a bearish move down. It may be, it may just come down a little bit more and reverse back up, which is fine. But let's wait for next week and take a look at it. Okay, I wouldn't do anything with it now. Okay. All right, Frank has solved his issue with the sound. Good. All right, Edward is back. MP, let's take a look at that one. All right, so MP, nice move up, starting to get a nice retracement like that. Let's see, I'm not so sure the retracement's over. Let's draw some quick fibs in here and see if this gives us a little bit of an idea. So the ideal retracement area here, Ed, is between 58 and 42, okay? We haven't quite reached it. We have a red owl on the daily, so that indicates it's in a major 4 on that time frame. We're still in a major 3, so you do want to go long at some point. I would probably wait and see a little longer to see if we can get down into this target zone. Now, 15% of the time, they only retrace between 23.6 to 38.2. 70% of the time they go in here, and then 15% they go a little lower, not to retrace below the top of wave 1, that type of thing. All right, so that's kind of where we are in the Elliott wave count. So I do expect a bullish wave 5 at some point here. I think it's probably a little too early to tell, but we did have a nice ABC correction, and the C leg was almost as long as the A leg, so that's pretty good. But it could take one more dip in. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay, so sorry about that. All right, so ABC to the downside here, okay? So in that case here, I like it. We also have a pretty nice size order block here. Not order block, fair value gap, rather. Here, okay? A little bit of one down in here as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come down here. So I would hold off on this, but I like it for looking at it next week. So let's put that one on a watch list, okay? All right, INTA. Potential new buy. Okay, my only thing that keeps me out of this is the PTF is red. The PTF has a 75% accuracy rate. It's not 100%, nothing is, of course, but that's a pretty darn high rate. So if it's red, it's basically saying this is not the bottom. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get a retracement 50% up before it turns down. Okay, that's very possible. So because that's red, I would say no. If it wasn't red, I would say, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so on that one, I would hold off. All right, next week, bring it back. We can keep looking at it every week and see how that evolves. All right, LUMN is your next one. And this is a potential new buy as well. So let's take a look at that one. All right, this one, I'll just make these a little smaller. This one's got a green PTF. All right, so it's broken out of its channel. I would say this is a buy. Okay, now, with that said, a couple things. We have a fairly good size wick, and we have a wick here. All right, so probably going to get a little bit of a pullback on this. So you need to put your stop right about here, or at least below what may be the order block here. Okay, we don't know yet. So probably a pullback into this area here. Sorry. Okay, so I think probably coming down to 555. We're at 595. So I'm liking this for a buy. Your stop's got to go, I think, at the bottom here, which is the bottom of this price bar here. Okay, the only thing I don't like about this are the fairly good size wicks here and here, but I don't think you're going to get a major move down. I think probably you're going to get a pullback and then more highs. And that's kind of what the PTF is saying. So for that reason, I'm going to put this one down as a buy, okay, with your stop down at the bottom. So I'm kind of liking that one. All right. So good, 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 good. All right. Let's keep going here. All right. So Frank, you got to tell me that when you put a stock in, if it's a long or a short. Okay. Otherwise, I don't know what you really want. Let's see. Let's keep going here. All right. So those are all scalping trades. Okay. Well, I think I covered those, right? So I think I wouldn't go long, but a short may make sense on that. All right. No echo on my end, according to Ed. Okay, good. All right. Let's take a look at URA for you, Frank. All right. Let me put you up here. All right. Again, on a monthly basis, wait for a weekly retracement. May go fast. I can see stocks missing data feed. All right. This would be an investment. Okay. So here's the thing. Okay. Again, it's already gone up so much. So, you know, if you're looking at something for investment, you're going to hold it for 10 years. The only time you're going to sell it is if management changes or something like that. You don't even need to look at some of these charts, really, except for if you want to time them better. But if you're looking at this as a trade, when you say, everybody says long-term, it means something different to everybody. But if you're looking at this as something you're going to hold for a year or so, I would wait for the pullback, okay? I don't see this one as a stellar one to the upside, okay? You know, obviously down here was a nice move, but now you have bearish divergence building here, all right? You have a mature area here. You have a lot of white for a nice retracement down here. So I would wait until you get a retracement on that, okay? You've already got 1, 2, 3, almost 4 pyramids to the upside on the daily chart. So I kind of would wait. We'll take a look at that next time, okay? All right, so let's see. Eleanor, how are you? Okay, ARM. All right, so let's see what you got here. All right, so you're long on these. All right, so you got green PTFs, which is a good sign. You're in a channel, a range, they call that. So it looks like maybe we had a little bit of a correction here. So you got a reason to go in there. So, all right, there's not a lot of history on this, but here's the only issue with this one. If you take a look at the range, you got a high here. You got a low here. Okay, that's the range. Fairly wide channel, right? So you've got a situation like that. Now, I would also take this and draw in a couple more lines in here. All right. And, you know, the range may be tightening, but it's still a range. Now, the PTFs are indicating eventually will break out, but you may stay in that range for, you know, a while longer. Okay, months longer before you get a significant breakout. We're showing a move to the upside here, but here's the thing. 80% of range breakouts fail. So usually when it gets up here, if you're a scalper, you're going to go short it. And if you're wrong, you get out, right? But you'll be right 80% of the time because usually you'll have that type of thing. You don't ever want to scalp in the middle of the range. Okay, wait till it gets to the extremes, and you can even wait for a reversal bar. Okay, now if you have 4 points in a range, you know, then you got to look for a breakout. Okay, so if it hits the range side 2 times on one side, 2 on the other, then the chances increase for a breakout. So, and when you get a breakout, you'll see a big bar that closes down here. All right, and then you'll get probably another one, then maybe a pullback, and then another one. So that's a breakout. So you kind of want to cover your range trades, your scalps, on the breakout. So on this one here, you eventually should get a breakout to the upside. And since you're in it already, I don't see necessarily a reason to get out. But you have to be prepared for this stock to oscillate between 188 and 79. So that's a big oscillation, right? So I don't know how you want to play that. And I don't know exactly where you got in, but that's, you know, food for thought. You could put your stop at the bottom of the pyramid here if that is on the daily chart, if that still gives you a profit, okay? And if you don't mind that kind of volatility swing, then you can stay with it, okay? Okay? All right, so let's see what else. Did I miss anybody? Okay, did I miss anybody? I'm trying to see here. I think we're pretty good shape. All right, let me just, okay, so we got those two. I think I got everybody, all right? I'll give it another minute or so. You guys can type in something else if you want. So while you're doing that, let me just go over the ones that we saw today, okay, that looked good. So actually MRVL, Marvel for a short trade, okay, that one is actually looking pretty good. We got CRSP for a buy. We got WBD for a buy and LUMN for a buy. On the watch list, so to speak, we got TECK and MP, okay? So we got those two on the watch list. So I'd like to take a look at those. Remember those, bring those back next week for us. All right, I think that's it. All right, so have a good one, okay? And have a great weekend. And thanks so much for tuning in. And those were good picks this week, okay? So 1 short and 3 longs. And, you know, we'll see how the market does when we meet again. All right, one last one for Frank here on Tesla. Okay, Tesla, we have a buy on. All right, so I do like Tesla. We've had that on since basically the pullback. So we're kind of liking that. It broke structure down in here. All right, had nice pyramid entries here. And so now our target is 454 to 598 on that. So you know, basically if you get in here, you need to put your stop probably under at least this area here. So you still got close to a 2-to-1. So Tesla could still be one you could take. Okay. So I do like Tesla. Okay. All right, Frank, thanks for sharing that. I forgot about that one. Okay. So Tesla's on our more buy list already. So that's an excellent one. All right. And that is from Frank. Okay. Stuart, you're welcome. All right. Ed, I'm not sure I did. VERT. Let's see what we got here. All right, so I'm not sure. I think I might have gotten this. Did I get this one? I didn't. I'm sorry about that. All right, so VRRT, let me just see. Can't remember if you are already in this one or not. Okay, let's see. Eleanor, where are you? I want to see if she's already long on this. Can't find her. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I missed both these, ARM and VRT. Okay, ARM. Let's do ARM first. Thank you, Ed, for reminding me of that. I guess I might have missed it. Maybe. Oh, no, I did this one. Okay, this was the one in here. All right, this was the one with the long channel. So we did that one. And maybe I just forgot VRT is what you're saying. Okay. All right, VRT. All right, no PTFs. They're all neutral on yellow. We've come up here. Couldn't quite break out the high there. It looks like it may be trying again. So since you're long on this one, I would not recommend this for anybody here, but since you're long on this one, you can put your stop right under this low here or this price bar here as well and see if you can get one more high on it, okay? You might get one more high, but you also got a double top here. So I would definitely put a stop in case this thing decides to go south, okay? Usually when you get a V shape like that, all right, usually have another leg up. So I'm thinking you're going to have one more leg up, which is why I'm telling you to stay in it. All right, let's see what else we got cooking here. Thank you, Ed, for that. I think I did miss that one. All right, Alexander, thank you. You have a good weekend too. All right. Ian says, Ed, you get a gold star for today. All right, Frank, thank you. And thank you for being here. Great to see you here. And Alexander, you have a good weekend too. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next Friday. In the meantime, all right, trade well. All right, thanks so much. I'll go ahead and put a little music on and then we'll end the session today.